It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be pod-smacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello, everyone. It's Rob Carson. How are you? Welcome to the show. For those of you listening on audio, episode number 230. 230. Can you believe that? 230. Which, by the way, apparently is, my daughter tells me, she's 12. She says it's a dentist's favorite time. Do you know why? Because it's tooth hurdy. Yeah, I told her I was recording 2:30. Okay. It's also, by the way, right after 2:29 and right before 2:31. Yeah, you are part of history. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me on Liberty One TV. Glad to have you guys here. The show is bigger and better than ever. It's growing every day. And I would encourage you, if you can, become a member of Liberty One TV. That would be great, liberty1tv.com. It's only 33 cents a day, $10 a month, $99 a year, and you should consider advertising. You should, like Dots Pretzels here. Yeah, they advertise. And you know what? I get 500 to 600,000 views a month. Dots Pretzels is selling pretzels. Part of that is because their pretzels kick butt. But if you want to become an advertiser, get on liberty1tv.com and contact us. Because we would love to have some small businesses involved. You're going to reach millions of people. You are. It's a bargain. Trust me on this. So join and advertise. And Happy New Year. Okay, so let's start the show today talking a little bit about my size being bigger than yours. I thought this was kind of funny today. Because Donald Trump, over the weekend, Kim Jong-un has kind of softened his stance with regard to to South Korea. They're ready to discuss maybe, reuniting to some degree. They want to talk about unity with South Korea. Some people are saying this is just a ruse. It is Kim Jong-un doing the dance and trying to separate the United States from South Korea, getting buddy-buddy with South Korea and all that stuff. South Korean Unification Minister Cho Myong-gwan, who, honestly has been doing this for, 70 years? Not worked. Suggested a meeting as early as next Tuesday to discuss Olympic cooperation, a shared border village, overall relations between the two countries. What is South Korea going to have, or North Korea going to have an Olympic team? What's that going to be, like longest tapeworm? Really? Intestinal parasite competition? What? Really? So anyway, Lindsey Graham says that allowing Kim Jong-un's North Korea to participate in the Winter Olympics would give legitimacy to the most illegitimate regime on the planet. I don't know how the hell you have an Olympic team that's well-trained from North Korea and well-fed from North Korea. Saw some video that most people were not supposed to see, which showed North Korea giving the okay to its soldiers to go into a cornfield and pick up scrap corn from the starving peasants there. North Korea, Kim Jong-un delivered an address over the weekend when he wore a new tie and everything and a nice suit. It wasn't the traditional dictatorial suit that has the Nehru collar and the thing went in there. Decided to maybe act sane because maybe he's getting some crazy back from a president of a country that has enough nuclear arsenal to wipe them off the face of the earth a dozen effing times. Kim Jong-un said that he has a button on his desk. Can launch a nuclear strike anywhere in the country, anywhere in the continental United States. Donald Trump said yesterday, I have a bigger button, and it works. Yeah. I love this. When you live in a crazy world, and this is a crazy-ass world, guys, and you may think that you can give peace a chance, and you may think that you can coexist. No. can't. There are a lot of people here who want to kill you, kill your family, steal your property. Just the way it is. You got to greet crazy with a little crazy. Donald Trump is greeting it, and I think it's with a wink and a nod. Mine's bigger than yours, and mine works. It's a little, what is it? Missile. What is it? Dysfunction. Donald Trump is implying that he has a little missile dysfunction. Mine's bigger and mine works. I love it. I love it. I love this. Oh. The other big front. Yeah, just a couple thoughts on North Korea. I'm old enough to remember Tiananmen Square. I'm old enough to remember thinking, and it was foolhardily in my 20s, that if you said the right things and if you protested in a big enough fashion with regard to peace and overthrowing a dictatorial regime, that maybe they would bow. The USSR did that. There were 4 people involved in that, leading it. I'm not saying that the people of East Germany and peaceful of the Soviet Union had anything to do with it. They did, of course, but there were 4 leaders involved, and they overthrew the USSR without a fired shot. Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, Pope John Paul II, Lech Walesa, U.S. President, Prime Minister, Pope, poet, and shipbuilder. They did it. They did it. Ronald Reagan knew that the Soviet Union was a paper tiger. They didn't have the resources to build their military. They didn't have the resources to do anything. All they could do was confiscate. All they could do was take. They had a workforce of millions and millions of people who never benefited from the fruits that they sowed. Never got a bit of it. Watched people in the hierarchy become wealthy and drive on special lanes and become fat and happy, while the people rode in crappy little cars, stood in line for toilet paper. Similar in some ways to what's happening in the United States with the bourgeois and the proletariat. Not as bad, certainly. China was able to tamp that down. They were able to slaughter 10,000 people in Tiananmen Square. They were able to crush them under the treads of tanks and wash their remains into the storm drains. They did. I remember it. We're now just finding out more about it. But they were able to do that. Can North Korea do that? Their people are already weak. They're desperate. They're sick. Can they overturn this regime? Do they have the strength to do it? I don't know. I've never lived in a country where people are expected to treat their leadership like God. Like God. Although there were a lot of people in this country who I think treated Obama like that. But when you are raised with that, is the will still here? If you are raised looking at a picture of the dear leader, if you are raised thinking that dear leader and his father and his grandfather were holy, were gods, is there enough fire to fight against that and say no? Or is there just a need to escape? We had some dictators leave the country lately. We're running across the border. More women than men, oddly enough. Is that enough to start a revolution? To have people who have known nothing else but the dear leader to say, F you. I'm done. If you had tasted freedom before, yes, I understand that. But I wonder. I do believe that North Korea is a paper tiger. My gut tells me they will fall. My gut tells me the reason why Kim Jong-un is reaching out to South Korea, the reason why Kim Jong-un is cleaning up his act a little bit, is because he's dealing with a little crazy too. But this crazy's got a much bigger stick and a much bigger button. Iran. 2009, Barack Obama and his administration were presiding over the White House when the Green Revolution started to take place. It was when the people of Iran, and then Iran has waxed between, I won't say progressivism, but certainly 20th century, I won't say values, but 20th century technology, 20th century conventions, and those of the 7th century. Iran at one point was a tremendously successful country. There was a good deal of personal freedom. It was a modern society. And then the Shah of Iran was taken over. I'm not saying what this guy did was right. I don't remember much about it. I was a child. The Ayatollah Khomeini came to Iran, and that's when the Shiites started hitting the fan. Thank you very much. With regard to the Middle East, with regard to a return to 7th century barbarism. And that's what happened. 7th century barbarism made a return. You can pinpoint it to 1980. 1980. The Iranians had U.S. hostages. They had them for a year and a half with Jimmy Carter as the president. Ronald Reagan says, I want to release the hostages. When Ronald Reagan was elected, inaugurated, the hostages were released. We saw that with several Iranian hostages when Donald Trump became the president. There's something about that big button makes a difference. Will Iran finally throw off the religious rule that it's been under for 40 years? I don't know. But in many ways, they are a paper tiger. Donald Trump said of the Iranian mullahs, tear down this firewall. I think it's kind of interesting, actually. It's a great headline, by the way, in the UK Daily Mail. Because the government of Iran is blocking Instagram, other social media, while encouraging Iranians to use special software to the U.S. government is saying there is special software to circumvent controls. And this is about, and our president is the master of it, right? He's the Twitter guy. What is Instagram used for? What is Facebook Live used for now? It's getting the word out. It's telling the world what is happening here is wrong. Tiananmen Square, you didn't know. The last images you saw was a guy standing in front of a tank with his hand out. That was it. He and his ilk were crushed to death. Time and time again until they were a pulp and then washed into the storm drains. 1,000 people in Tiananmen Square were guaranteed they'd be safe, that they would survive if they surrender. They were mowed down. 10,000 people slaughtered in Tiananmen Square. No Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter. This is what despots do. Donald Trump is saying, tear down this firewall. And I got to tell you, there's nothing more apropos. There's nothing more apropos. Newsweek is just a POS. They tweeted, Trump bars Americans on Twitter, but tells Iran to unlock social media sites. There's a difference between a murderous regime shutting down freedom of expression and journalism to get the word out about a massacre, and a guy banning trolls who are assholes to him on Twitter. Give me a break. Let's talk a little Iran. Get some audio for you I want to share. Because for once, the United States is speaking to despots as they should be spoken to, which is, you want to F with me? Let's go. Let's go. The United States when we are silent, sends a very powerful message to the world that despots can get away with anything. That's what happened in the Green Revolution in 2009. That's what happened. If we are silent, despots thrive. It's when we are loud that they stop. We'll see what happens with North Korea. We'll see what happens with Iran. I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. A lot of Obamaites are upset that Donald Trump is tweeting about Iran and North Korea. But it's really about fulfilling campaign promises. The president said he wanted to make Jerusalem the capital of Israel. He wanted to acknowledge it, I should say. He can't make it. He wanted to acknowledge it. He's doing it. He's going to dismantle government regulation. Doing it. Change the tax system in this country. Doing it. Bring back the economy. Doing it. Doing it. Defeat ISIS. Doing it. Yeah. He also basically told the world's dictators to be on watch. Now, this isn't a campaign speech. This is Donald Trump at the UN a few months ago saying what he felt was necessary. And now through his actions, even though they are Twitter and non-militaristic, with the power of the bully pulpit, he's sending a message to Iran that he originally said in the campaign and during the speech to the UN.
The entire world understands that the good people of Iran want change. And other than the vast military power
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall
of the United States, that Iran's people are what their leaders fear the most.
Tear down this wall.
This is what causes the regime to restrict internet access, tear down satellite dishes, shoot unarmed student protesters, and imprison political reformers.
Now, this was several months ago at the United Nations. Did you notice that every one of the things he just said are what's happening right now in Iran? A little bit more for the president's speech. Play, please.
Oppressive regimes cannot endure forever, and the day will come when the people will face a choice. Will they continue down the path of poverty, bloodshed, and terror? Or will the Iranian people return to the nation's proud roots as a center of civilization, culture, and wealth, where their people can be happy and prosperous once again?
Think about what's happened to Iran. I don't remember much about Iran before when the Shah was in charge. And he was not a good person. I mean, he was a totalitarian. I get it. For some odd reason, the Middle East, they desire that. They crave that. They like that leader. They like that king. They like that mullah. They like that sheikh. I don't get it. I don't get it. They overthrew, though, with a variety of radicals. They overthrew this progressive thinking, not progressive politics, but 20th century, maybe more thinking Shah in favor of a 7th century throwback. A 7th century throwback. And what good has it gotten them? And finally, when 2009 rolls around and you see a green revolution akin to what we saw in Tiananmen Square, America was silent. Barack Obama was silent. Listen to this. Susan Rice, former national security advisor, she said, "How can Trump help Iran's protesters? Be quiet." No. When we're quiet, people die. When we are vocal for good, people live and countries are free. Susan Rice, you ignoramus. Tommy Veeder says, Trump loves protesters as long as they're not American. Shut up, you ass. Yeah, Antifa. Antifa. Really? They're peaceful? Right? I have a problem with their protests. Samantha Power, former UN ambassador. We stand with the Iranian people so much that we won't let them come in here anymore. The Iranian people don't want to come here. They don't. Well, they want to live in their country and they want to be free in their country. They want to stay in their homeland. And that's the way most people are. But unfortunately, there are a lot of despots and evil and awful people in the world. And occasionally the cowboy needs to ride in and say, okay, let's do something about this. We don't let some people, or at least we are careful about some people coming to the country because we don't know who we're going to get. There are a lot of bad players infiltrating, and they know how to play it, and they know how to play us. Wholesale opening the door to Iranian people, or I should say, or even Iraqians. It's not the way to do it. By speaking in a powerful fashion and saying, we do not support the evil of the mullahs. We do not support that. That's as, I think, powerful a weapon to many countries as a button on a desk. I could be wrong. Some good stuff here I want to share with you. No, actually, no. I've got some audio from a guy who I enjoyed seeing speaking on Fox News. Gary Bernstein used to work with the CIA. And for those of you who are young, I'm not young, but at the same time, I don't remember a lot about what's happening in Iran and where it came from. Here he is explaining a little bit about it. Also, what Donald Trump's going to do about it and what Barack Obama did not.
In response to the election of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, a movement arose under the moniker of "Where's my vote?" because the population felt like their vote had been stolen and that the election had not been an honest one. And that gave...
Same thing happened in Venezuela.
...birth to what has been known as the Green Movement or the Persian Awakening. What happened, though, at that point was the Obama administration was very, very careful in its dealing with the Iranians. And essentially, the Iranians, in response to this, brought in thugs from Hezbollah, not believing the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps would use sufficient force and suppress their population. They wound up kidnapping, torturing, and murdering hundreds of individuals that led that. People were never heard from. But most importantly out of all of this, and we're talking about intelligence malpractice, the Obama administration ordered the CIA Iranian ops element to have no contact with the Green Movement, not to have any debriefings of them, any of them that fled the country, to have absolutely nothing to do with them, which, quite frankly, in the intelligence business is just stupidity.
It is stupidity. You have to choose a side. Barack Obama was sympathetic to radical Islam. He was sympathetic to their grievances. He was sympathetic. We must have done something wrong. This is what liberals do. There must have been something. What did we do? What did we do? Why did we hurt you? Why did you hurt? It's like an abusive spouse. Why? I need to know why you're beating the shit out of me. You know? I need to know what did I do wrong? No, we didn't do anything wrong. You are just under the control of a very powerful being who is not going to let you achieve anything if it's just you and me, okay? If it's just you and me, if it's just the abusive and the abused, nothing will be done. You get a big, whatever, the United States come in and say, you know what, enough, knock it off. That's when the abuse stops. I think that was a good analogy. Here's a little bit more from Gary Bernstein, former CIA agent.
People have to understand something, that there are no moderates in Iran, in the Iranian government.
Thank you.
Moderates in the Iranian government essentially are graduate students that have run out of ammunition. Okay? These guys have an Islamic theocracy run by thugs. and they are only going to be removed by a popular uprising.
Come on.
And the fact that President Trump is encouraging the demonstrators against them is on point. Thank you, President Trump. That's what you need to be doing. The past, soft handling of Iran was foolish. They are our self-declared opponents. Look, death to America, Marbar America, is the thing they say every day. Yeah. We need to recognize that. We need to understand who we're working against, and the Trump administration's got this.
I love the fact that these things are finally being said. I love the fact that things like this are finally being said. They weren't said by Bill Clinton. They weren't said by George W. Bush. They weren't said by Barack Obama. They are being said. These are the things that you and I say. These are the things that you and I say. We see people over there. We see an uprising. We see a possibility of freedom. And we go, come on, say something. Say something. We finally have a president who's saying what I want to hear and what needs to be said to create freedom, to stop genocide. We got a president who has balls. All right, we got a president who has balls. And I F decorum. F decorum. We live in a crazy effing world. We live in a crazy effing world. And taking Kim Jong-il a basketball signed by Michael Jordan isn't going to stop him from starving and murdering and locking up his people for generations. You want to play footsie with the Soviet Union like Jimmy Carter did? Or do you want to have a guy who's just crazy enough to say, testing 1, 2, 3, the bombing starts in 10 minutes. And they go, oh, shit, he might be crazy. We live in a crazy effing world. We cannot be genteel. We cannot be courteous. We cannot buy them out. We cannot bribe them. What we can do is go, you want to F with me? You want to F with me? I want to F with you. Love to know your thoughts. If you want to write me, CarsonOnTheRadio@gmail.com. Hoda Kotb is going to be making $18 million less than Matt Lauer. Yeah, can you believe that? $7 million a year. He's going to be hosting, she's going to be hosting the Today Show and doing the show with Kathy Lee Gifford for $7 million. Matt Lauer got 25. Now, we've heard a lot about equal pay for equal work, right? Equal pay. It's the same job. In fact, she's doing more. So if you believe in Lilly Ledbetter, the bill signed by Barack Obama, if you believe in equal pay for equal work, then she should make $25 million a year, right? She should. She said, you're a female CEO of United Airlines versus a male CEO of United Airlines. You should make the exact same amount of money, right? Same job, equal pay, equal work. But Matt Lauer was there for 25 years, and you weren't. Ouch. Ouch. As far as just saying equal pay for equal work, that's bullcrap. Because there are other mitigating factors you have to consider. Experience, performance. Maybe she needs to get a button on her desk that locks people in the room so she can sexually assault them. Maybe that'll help. But for all of you who equal pay for equal work, everybody's got to get the same wage, blah, blah, blah. Bullcrap. It's not the case. Women are going to make more sometimes than men. Men are going to make more sometimes for women. There are so many other factors other than what's between your legs. So many other factors other than what's between your legs. You idiots who are just race baiters, sex baiters. I do like Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Monday he posted a tweet wishing his dog a happy 5th birthday. There's 2 pictures. Dog standing over a pile of dead geese because he went hunting, and one when the dog was a puppy. One of Wentz's many followers replied to his tweet, said, as a friend, I wanted to quickly highlight that a man in your influential position might cause offense through the posting of your first picture. I support its sentiment. However, the context and the content of the pic would offend. would offend. We live in a country where what I call big offense. Big offense. It's a massive thing. Big offense is a big deal. Because to offend someone is a fatal sin in a country with the First Amendment. But here's what the quarterback had to say. Appreciate that. But offensive and controversial, two of the main things I tweet about are Jesus and hunting. That's what I'm passionate about. That's never going to change. When you love something, you talk about it. Stay convicted about it, and don't worry about what others think. Oh, bravo, Carson Wentz. Bravo, Carson Wentz. Bravo, Carson. Fantastic. F you. If you don't like what I said, if you don't like it, don't watch me play football. If you don't like what I say, don't listen to my podcast, don't watch me. I'm not going to change if somebody's offended. I'm not going to change if somebody's offended. By the way, you'll notice this little logo. Hold on. Right there. Right. No, over here. There we go. Sorry, it's a mirror image I'm looking at here. I've got a lot of really cool politically incorrect garb. Democrats only break glass. It has a binky in there. I've got veganism is eating disorder. We've got all these really cool politically incorrect designs on teepublic.com/user/conservatees, conservatees. We're going to be adding these to the Liberty One lineup very shortly, liberty1tv.com, to the apparel section, the shop section of the website. Right now they're here. Obviously, Christmas is over, but we did have some cool Christmas stuff. If you check that out, God bless you. I would love it. I've got a good designer named San Cangelosi who helps me out. And he's brilliant. Ex-designer for Hallmark cards. Also, over here, Dots Pretzels. These are made in the Midwest. Made in North Dakota, Kansas City area. I'm a foodie. All right, I'm a foodie. And I got to tell you, these are the best pretzels I've ever had. You know, I've had some of the pretzels, they take the pretzel bits and they dip them in butter and they add the garlic and all that, you know, and it's taking scraps and stirring them up and adding a bunch of artificial flavors, and it's cool, whatever. Dots Pretzels are good throughout the whole pretzel. They've got a little spice. They've got some salt. I got to tell you, as a snack food, unbelievable. Order them online, dotspretzels.com, dotspretzels.com. And if you do that, tell them you heard Rob Carson talk about it, will you? I'd really appreciate it. One more story. I think this is kind of funny. Guy on Jeopardy is a white guy. He's a really white guy. And he was asked a question about Gangster's Paradise. All right. I watch Jeopardy, but honestly, I get lost in it sometimes because, like, this was combining a 1995 rap song with a piece of literature. And this white guy, he said Gangsta's Paradise in a very white fashion. Here's the exchange and why he lost some money because of it.
A song by Coolio from Dangerous Minds goes back in time to become a 1667 John Milton classic. Nick.
What is Gangster's Paradise Lost?
Yes. And Lisa, I was about to say you have enough money to take the lead away from Nick, but you don't even have to respond to take the lead away from Nick because our judges have reevaluated one of your responses a few moments ago, Nick. You said gangsters instead of gangstas on that song by Coolio. So we take 3,200 away from you, so you are now in second place. Lisa, you have the lead.
Okay. Now, kind of interesting because in the early 90s, there was a controversy about teaching Ebonics in school. You may or may not remember the Ebonics debate, but it was taking proper English, and some African-American kids, apparently some people said they can't understand proper American English, so let them speak in, for lack of a dated term, jive. It used to be called jive. It's how black people talk. So, I'm not going to try to be black. What up, homie? Okay, all right. So I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to try. So there was a lot of controversy about that, taking standard English, Africanizing it or African Americanizing it. What this guy did is he whitecized things. He took something that was a term that generally is referred for with the Ebonics. It's gangsta. Again, I'm a white guy. I just look stupid when I do this. But he whitecized it. Well, you got Ebonics. What is it? Whitonics? Caucasonics? Whatever. He just did what white people do. To the Ebonics language, he did what African Americans did to the basic English, classical English, making it Ebonics. He took the Ebonics and made it white, and it should have been accepted. That's how he talks. You have I don't know. Get Jay-Z to recite some poetry and get some white guy to recite the lyrics from a rap song from whoever. It's going to sound really weird, but maybe the context is still kind of there. It's just how they speak. Whatever. I thought it was funny. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing on social media. If you would, it would be greatly appreciated. Yesterday, I asked you to say a prayer for my family. I've been out of work for a year. This is a blessing for me. Terry Littlepage, who put this network together, has been a blessing to me. Yesterday, I'll be honest, yesterday was a struggle, financially struggle. We had some big issues happening. When your rent is due and you don't have it. You been there? Been there lately? I know I'm white privileged. I shouldn't have to worry about that. But when I was down to my last moment, when I called my mother and I said, Mom, what do you have available on your credit card? I had a Facebook message ready to go to my friends, and I said, if I could just get some help. I didn't send it. And I went to the mailbox. And there was money. And it paid the rent. And it kept us here. This morning I went on the radio at a radio station, a very nice market. I've wanted to work there forever. I'm going to go to that radio station next week, and I'm going to audition. I'm going to go to another city and audition. I believe in karma. I believe in fate. I believe in prayer. And if anything, just positive energy, and I think maybe you guys helped me with that. If you did, God bless you. Thank you. Because 24 hours ago is a lot different than now. Very positive stuff. Very positive stuff. Please sign up for Liberty One TV. Help out my brothers and sisters who are on here as well, because I think it's pretty powerful, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. You always hear about the big names, the big pundits and all this, and they got their networks and all that. We are a scrappy lot, but we're reaching a lot of people. We are at Liberty One TV. We are. If you want to write me, Rob, Carson on the radio at gmail.com. And if you want to just write me and say, hey, Rob, keep me and my family in your thoughts and prayers, I'll do it. Because we go through rough times, don't we? But we're all in this together. We really are. All right. Make sure to download this off of iTunes, iHeartRadio, among other places. The Rob Carson Show podcast, episode 230. 230! And, of course, this goes my broadcast for the 3rd of January already, 2018. Take care. God bless. And I will see you tomorrow on Liberty One TV and on the radio. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram. I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. See you soon.